Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our latest episode of Mornings with Mayesh. It's Yvonne here, and thank you so much for joining us. I am here today with my longtime flower friend and our 2013 Mayesh Design Star, Jodi Duncan. She is here today to talk with us about color shifting using Design Master, a really great tool to have in your toolkit just to help you shift things, use things, and save money. It's going to be a really good episode. I hope you enjoy it. Super excited about it. Before I bring Jodi on, though, please take a minute, say hello, let us know where you are from. And also, I wanted to make sure that if you have questions for Jodi, to post them in the comments and we'll definitely get to them. Like I already see one from Penny, a really great question, and we'll definitely get to that. Also, I wanted to make sure that you know that we will be posting a replay over on our blog and also on YouTube. I create a podcast. We'll put the show notes up on the blog. And we have Remy that is participating in the conversation as well already. Usually he waits and gives me a little bit more time before he gets all vocal. And hopefully my baby girls put him in the kitchen just because he's, he watches out this window that's like right outside my office and looks outside all day. So that's Remington, if you guys don't know. I wanted to also make sure that we just go over a few things that's happening over at Mayesh. And the first one is not that it's a Mayesh thing, it's an American thing. It's American Flowers Week. So happy American Flowers Week to everyone. Be sure you guys check out Slow Flowers and Deborah Prinzing. She always has so many great things to talk about in terms of slow flowers and American flowers. And we posted on Instagram, it was a beautiful promo image that was created for this week. So check that out. Also wanted to say happy Pride Month. It's the last day of Pride Month. And to celebrate, our very own Kelly Gerard over at LAX created this gorgeous, amazing, over-the-top Pride pole for you guys to enjoy. So check that out. And obviously, if you need your own Pride pole or different pool or whatever, you have inspiration, she always loves a really great challenge. So connect with us about that. Also, this week, we launched our Beautiful People of the Floral Industry video series. Val McNichols, our manager over in Carlsbad, she came up with this great idea and is starting to interview different designers. So we are kicking off the new series with Drew Rios of Rogue and Fox. And so we just really want to celebrate the diversity in our industry. And this is just going to be a great way to do that. So if you guys are interested in doing an interview with Val as well, or maybe me, because I know we're going to I know there's a lot of people that want to do this. So just shoot me an email. You guys get those emails already. If you don't, I'll put the link so you guys can subscribe. But pretty much if you reply to any of those emails that go out for Mayesh in terms of newsletters or this show, that is really me sending those out. So you can reply and I promise I will get them. And then last but not least, speaking of email, last week I had Joseph Massey on the show and he talked a little bit about how he's launching his new online courses tomorrow, guys. And so we have an exclusive promo for Mayesh that's going to be going out via email tomorrow. And also we'll talk a little bit about it on our IG Live that we have planned for Thursday. Joseph's going to do a demo and then also talk about all the great promos that he has for launch week. So make sure you stay tuned or you subscribe so that we get all that great info. Sound good? All right. So I'm going to just bring Jodi on and we're going to get started, guys. Good morning, everyone that's here. I love that you guys are here. Good morning, Jodi. How are you?
I am good. How are you? Hi, Remy.
I know he's super vocal. I'm sorry, guys. It's part of working from home, and he's a good watchdog. But it comes with that barking. He's not a quiet boy all the time.
It comes with the times. We're all home with our fur babies, and so it comes with the times anyway. So it's all good.
It's all good. And he makes up for it. He's a short pay and he has that smushy face and he's like the cutest thing in the whole entire world and he loves our family. So we put up with the barking.
Absolutely. Yeah. I get it. Fergus barks too, but he's in the house and my office is not connected to the house. Otherwise they would be talking, I'm sure, telling dog tales.
That's what I need. I need like a she shed office, Need a she shed so that I can
She
turn that into
shed.
an office and be separated from everything and all the noises. Although he does keep me company. He comes and says good morning. But anyhow, enough about Remington. Jodi, I'm so happy that you're here again. It's been a while. It's been way too long. And I just wanted, for anyone that doesn't know who you are already, can you just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your flower story?
Sure. I grew up in a flower shop, started hanging out with flowers when I was 7 years old, bought my first flower shop when I was 19. I'm looking hard at 50. So I've been in the floral industry for a long, 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 long time. And I love it. I love it. My affiliation with Design Master, I started doing competitions. And so I started winning competitions. And then I saw the Design Master people at state-sponsored shows. And I think maybe it just grew out from that. I love competitions. I used to compete a lot since I was the 2013 Design Star. So that was the second year that you guys had it, was 2013.
Yes.
And so I don't know how it wasn't a very linear story. I was accredited into AIFD in 2008 and started working for Design Master about that time. So I think that's kind of it. I've had event and floral and interior business all along the way. And I still do that because I don't just want to be a professor. I want to be a practitioner and know how consumers are responding to color. So I don't ever want to lose that part of it. So I still do weddings and events and interiors. And I love the marketing side of it too. So I just love flowers and color. So.
Yes, yes. And I know when we first talked, I was in love with your branding because it's you use your curly hair and you have this great graphic, and I loved it. So we always bonded over marketing things because you're very good at it. I love it.
Oh, thanks. I love it. We have a lot of marketing clients in the craft and floral industry and on the outside of it too. But yeah, my logo, that was done in 2011. So it's 9 years old. It should be time for a rebrand, but we're not gonna, it's still a good logo. So I'm gonna.
It's still a really amazing logo. And I think that's part of, I think that says something about your capabilities because it doesn't look outdated, even though it's older, you know, like everything always needs a refresh and evolve and things like that. But that's something that has definitely staying power. So kudos to you for that.
Thanks, pal.
Yeah. All right. So let's get into Design Master. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Design Master's been around for a long time. Can you give us a little bit of history? Yeah. Give us a little history of how you got involved.
Okay. So 1961, Design Master kind of came on the scene. Mark Addison is the founder of Design Master, and he is very much retired, but very much still active around the home office in Boulder, Colorado. You know, I love those visits to the home office in Colorado. There's something, I'm a mountain girl, and so I love to go to the mountains. But that's where the headquarters of Design Master is, and Mark Addison is up there in years because he was an accountant and an artist. And so he saw a need just because the supply chain, if you can imagine, in 1961, 10 years before I was born, it was they didn't have logistics nailed down like you guys do. And like the floral, how we ship flowers now, that was not happening in 1961. It was like, you want this? You got it? Okay. You need pink, but you've only got white. You need burgundy and you've only got lavender. So it was born out of a need to take color control at that time. And I think it's really interesting how history is repeating itself because everybody's working so hard and to get the supply chain back on right now. And there's still some lags and some availability issues despite everybody's best effort, from your sales rep to the farms and everybody in between. There's still some lags. And so Design Master, that's what we were invented for, specifically formulated for fresh flowers. You can use it on lots of surfaces. You can use it on fabrics and feathers and wigs and tights, and it doesn't get crunchy and weird like hardware store paint. It's wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And it really helps you not freak out when you needed cafe au lait dahlias and they're not available, or you needed an antique hydrangea, but all they've got is pink right now.
Right. Yeah, I love that. And I think also another real life example for right now is that there's a huge shortage of roses. You know, with everything that happened with COVID, it really does affect the growing piece of it. And we're feeling that right now. Not having enough roses. So I think Design Master is a great tool to help you get the colors that you need. Because sometimes people really want certain things and you want to make your clients happy. So Design Master is going to save the day.
It does. It does.
Yeah. Yeah. So for those of people who've never used Design Master, because I would be one of those people, I'd be probably scared and nervous, and it's paint, and am I going to ruin things? Can you tell people the proper way to use the spray paints?
Well, you want to have good ventilation. That's super important. And you want to shake the cans. There's little agitating balls in the cans, so you want to hear them rattle. And you really want to have them rattle for a little bit so that all of that color, the rich pigment, tends to settle in the bottom of the can. And so it's just kind of like making chocolate chip cookies. You've got to, you dump all those ingredients in the bowl, and then you've got to mix them really, really good. And if you don't do that when you're baking chocolate chip cookies, they're going to be a mess. If you don't shake really good, all of the good stuff doesn't get distributed correctly. So that's another thing to consider, especially when you're spraying fresh product. There is a propellant in here that evaporates. So the propellant basically is the vehicle to carry the color. I'm trying to not get too technical here, but it carries the color to the surface that you're spraying. So as that color comes out of the can, that propellant evaporates. But if you get too close to that fresh surface, it can damage it. So you want to maintain a safe spraying distance about 18 inches away from your fresh product. Now you can get closer if you're spraying another surface, but fresh flowers and greenery, don't hunker down and get real close on it, because that propellant can harm the flowers. So that's what I would say. And if you've never sprayed before, we've got a couple different formulas. This can that I keep holding up for you is our Just for Flowers. And if you look at the can, you can see it's gradient color. It starts really, really light and then builds up in the tonality and in the color, the robust amount of color that you get. That's what happens with this. This is the flower dye. So it's really forgiving. So if you've never sprayed before, this is a really good place to start. And it dries super, super fast, which hardware store paint does not. You cannot use hardware store paint on fresh flowers. So just don't. This is especially formulated for delicate surfaces like that. And we work with independent laboratories to just get the exact thing that is great for flowers. It actually helps seal moisture in. Sometimes people say, oh, is it going to harm the flowers? Are they going to last as long? Yes, actually they'll last even longer because it seals that moisture in as well. So start with that. The other thing is our color tool, which is a more robust, richer color. It's more, you can use it very lightly as a mist, or you can get the exact color that you want. But this is just a heavier finish. It's a satin finish. This dries in minutes, which hardware does not. So this dries in we're talking 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 minutes. So it's super fast, super, super fast. But if you've not used it before, start with the Just for Flowers because it's a little bit more forgiving. And so there you go. And you can always ask us questions on social media or emails or anything if you have questions about how to use it.
Yeah, the Design Master team is amazing. You're here. I know Bradley, we've talked with him.
Yeah.
And her name is slipping my mind, but
Gretchen.
she's like Gretchen. Yes. And she's like color guru. She knows color trends and just is amazing with color. Like if you ever need to talk to someone about color history and theory and trends, she's your girl for sure.
She absolutely is. And I wish I could take her head and put it in my head.
Me too.
It in the hair, right? I mean, couldn't we do that?
Yeah.
I love her brain. I love working with her. She's fantastic. So smart, so wonderful. amazing.
Yes. Yeah. And you guys are all amazing speakers too, which is always so fun. And it always just amazes me because I don't know how you guys do it. I know Bradley's always like, you should just do Toastmasters. That's what I've done. And he's like such a good storyteller, and he sings songs, and it's just very fun. And you're obviously a natural speaker as well. So you guys are always really good guests to have on the show.
Thanks. I always love to talk about color anytime. I love it.
Yeah. So speaking of color, can you tell us what color shifting really means?
Well, I can not only tell you, I can show you.
I love show and tell.
I love show and tell. So I sprayed some very humble materials here, just so you can see. So here's some Solidago that I sprayed. Lowly filler. Wah, wah, it's just yellow. But this has been sprayed with our herbal. So look at that. It takes that yellow out and just shifts it. So it's analogous color. It's just a neighbor. It's just a neighbor of that color.
Let me see if I can make you bigger. Hold on. Give me a second.
Oh, do you want me to back up?
There. No, there you go. That's better.
I can come in closely.
Yeah. No. Now you're like the full screen. I'm on like the bottom. Like I'm a little person now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you can see that. And then let me show you. I also sprayed some Alstroemeria. So I got 2 bunches of lowly Alstroemeria, mostly because it's something we all know the color of. There's not a lot. It's like pretty much it comes in just a few colors. There's not a lot of varieties. So I bought yellow, and let me pull out the yellow that I bought. So here's the original yellow. Wait a minute. Yeah, here's the original yellow that I bought. Okay. And then here's all the colors that I shifted it to right here. That is one bunch of yellow Alstroemeria. And you can see in there, we've got green, we've got coral, we've got red, we've got all these different variations and this is all from the same bunch. So this is the original. And then this is everything else you got. So there's like,
yeah, so pretty. So there are people saying that you're coming through a little pixelated. Maybe we can take pictures of your flowers, like little side by side. Can we do that, Jodi? Maybe we can add that to the blog post, guys, for you guys.
Absolutely do that. So there you can see kind of the color shifting. Let me show you this real quick too. This is a cream stock, and then I just shifted it a little bit to the peach. So you can see how that was shifted, and it still looks very natural. That's my favorite way to use Design Master, is just to take something natural. Here's a pink. If I can show you that. Pink hydrangea, fresh hydrangea. And then this is just shifted with our Just for Flowers. So one is a little bit more plum and one is a little bit more purple. But this was the original bloom right here.
So pretty. Wow.
This is the original. And then, I mean, this looks like an antique. And you really can't tell that it was sprayed. But all three, this is what this was, this pink. So it was this that I turned into this. So that's easier to show you than to tell you how to color shift with these blooms. It's that's really what we did.
Yeah, that's amazing. So for people that have never sprayed before, I know you gave a couple of tips. Do you have any other tips on how they should start spraying?
If you're going to spray hydrangeas and you really want them to look realistic, I know there's disruptive ways to use color, and some people just spray it and it's never meant to look realistic. That's not my favorite use. People can use it however they want. I'm just happy they use Design Master. But if you really want it to look realistic, if you will shake your hydrangea between sprays, it just moves those petals enough that the color hits it a little differently and it doesn't look so sprayed, because like these look very natural. And so you can kind of see the difference there. And so that would be my advice on that. Just, you can also back spray if you want to be subtle with your use of color. Here's a lily, and I sprayed half of it. You can tell the half of it that I sprayed. The part of it that's closest to me is the part that I sprayed. And then, but I sprayed the back. I back sprayed it. So the color bleeds through, translucent bloom. So that's something really good that you can do with like Phalaenopsis orchids or petals that don't have a high petal count, but have more of a smooth surface. So just to back spray it, orchids are great to back spray. You can get really, really great, beautiful, realistic results. And that's my favorite way to use Design Master, is for people to go, oh my gosh, I can't even tell that that was sprayed. That looks natural. Then that's like, to me, that's the highest compliment in the world. I used to do classes. I used to teach, but it was really interesting. For a while, I was teaching salespeople about how to sell Design Master to their customers, because as a salesperson, it is no fun to talk to your customer and go, hey, you know that thing you ordered 3 weeks ago? Well, you're not going to get it. So, so to be able to come and go, hey, but we do have this. And if you use this product with it, you can get that thing, or a reasonable facsimile thereof. So to be able to do that for people is thrilling. I love being able to solve those kinds of problems.
Yes, yes. We have a bunch of questions coming in, which I love. So the first one is from Penny. She says, how long does the hydrangea last after tinting it?
Depends on the condition of the product. Actually, it's not going to make it last any less than it would have if you did not spray it. So it's going to last the same as an untinted or an unsprayed one, assuming that you followed the label directions. On the back of these cans, Gretchen has the task of all of this small print. And so if you've never read it, please read it, because it's just good information. Read it just once, just humor us. We work really hard on this small print. Gretchen does. So check that out. But yeah, it depends on the condition of the product. If the product is in great condition, it's going to make it last just as long, if not longer.
Very good. Very good. Charlie says, your application looks so natural. Any tips?
Light coats. Don't go in thinking, I want it to be this color. It's easier to add layers of color than to just go in and go in for the kill. So just build up those light layers. And the other thing is, sometimes when people are spraying, they'll just spray the item. Spray past it in sweeping motions on both sides, so that you don't have buildup where it crosses over. So it's better if you kind of spray past it. I think one of the things is, even especially on Alstroemeria or anything, here's some of the Alstroemeria that I've sprayed. It all looks really, really natural too. Sorry, I'm trying to get this in the middle. This was all from one stem of pink that we did not tint. And then I got all of these colors from that one bunch of Alstroemeria. And they all look really natural. You don't look at that and it doesn't look like it's been sprayed. It's very artistically done. So if you need lavender Alstro and all you have is pink, just reach for Design Master and voila, you can have some lavender Alstro and nobody will be any the wiser. So,
it's magic.
It's magic in a can.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay. Phyllis says, what colors used to change hydrangea? Multicolored layers?
Yes, many, many layers. And actually one of my favorite things when I'm spraying Design Master is, especially hydrangeas, basil. Because the nice thing about Design Master that you cannot do with other paints, especially on a fresh surface, is you can layer those colors. So they melt together. They don't get muddy and funky. You can layer them. And that's why the hydrangea looked so real. So for this, I used, I'll have to give you the list. Let me look at the color chart because I wrote that down. And if you guys want this, you can go to Design Master, dmcolor.com, and we have our color charts available. So you can pull all that up and check all that out. But what I use is a lot of Just for Flowers because, again, it's translucent. And the forgiving thing is that even on these Alstroemeria that have been sprayed, it's on the foliage, it really doesn't show up, which is really nice. That's Just for Flowers is very forgiving. Color tool is not. But what I sprayed would have been one of our new colors, blue violets, which is great. Sorry, trying to get in the middle here. Anyway, blue violets is wonderful. And then if you go to the blues, you go to the pinks, you can do all of that. Black cherry, purple pansy. Those are all really good colors to use. And then if you use the greens to blend it, that seems to really help. So I love, I don't ever spray. If I'm spraying hydrangeas, I have never not used basil to spray a hydrangea. And you would be like, green, really? Yeah. Yeah. It just kind of calms everything down, and those colors just get in there, and they just all get real yummy. So
good stuff. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. For those of you that are listening to the podcast, eventually when I make that, just know that Jodi will work on getting those pictures, and then hopefully like what colors you used. And then that way, at least you have a visual to look at there for those of you that are listening.
Yes, absolutely. I'll give you the recipes, but for hydrangeas especially, you need all the colors. I probably
need them all.
You just need them all. Just go buy all of them. Go buy them all.
I love it.
I'll for real give you the recipes.
Cool. Well, speaking of colors, we still have more questions, and guys, I'll get to those. But what are your most popular colors of the different lines?
Our metallics are huge. So 24 karat gold, antique gold, our super silver is fantastic. All of our metallics are really, really big. On the outside of that, our new colors, we introduced blush. I got it in the middle of the screen. That was good.
Perfect.
By the time we're done, I'll have this all perfected. So blush is really, really popular because it's popular with consumers. So I'd have to say that our blush color tool is a great, great color. And it's very, very popular. Our heatherish is also really fun. And it's just a very cloudy lavender color. So we love heatherish too. Our Coral Charming is a great, and it's from our Just for Flowers line. Again, it's that coral color. So
yes, everyone loves Coral Charm colored. Anything.
And probably like our Uber Matte line, which we haven't really talked about, is really fast drying, but it's a matte finish, and the color is so robust. So of that line, our light ochre is huge. It is the most wonderful ochre, mustardy color, and it's fantastic. If you have not tried Uber Matte, try it. There's so much rich pigment in there. It's amazing. And it does great on leather leaf, really dramatic just to spray leather leaf with yellow ochre or with the blue lake, our lake color. We have a blue color called lake. Bleh. And so that looks great on spraying leather leaf. It just adds a pop of color when you just need a little something.
Yeah, I love it. So good. Guys, this is such good information, right? And again, I have so many questions. So let's see, where did we leave off? Oh, Melissa wants to know, is it water resistant?
Yes, it is. The curing time, I'm going to have to put on my glasses. I'm not for sure. It is water resistant if you'll let it cure. It depends. I think the curing time is the same on the color tool as well as the Just for Flowers. But let it cure. But yes, it is completely water resistant. It is not going to come off. Nope. As long as the surface and the surface, it depends on the surface. If the surface, this is going to stick to a surface. So if you're spraying silk flowers that might be dusty, it's going to stick to the dust, and then the dust is going to come off. So it depends on the surface. It really does. But yeah, it is water resistant completely.
Okay. And then Rose Steady wants to know, will the color come off of clothes if you get it on you?
Nope. Let it cure, let it dry. Read the small print on the can, and it'll tell you exactly when it has cured. But it is dry to the touch, just very, very quickly. And then after that, the longer it sits, the more it cures. But in mere minutes, it's completely dry. But I would let it cure.
Very good. And then I showed this while you were talking about blush. preserved and dried flowers are so big right now. And so I have a question from Melissa saying, can you dry flowers with it applied?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the nice thing about Design Master is that if it fades or if it just needs a refresh when it comes to dried, you can easily perk that up. Even on silks that might fade in the sun. I know red silks are really bad about that. You can come back with Design Master and completely refresh your silks as well. I've seen people that put fake greenery out in the sun, like at restaurants or in planter boxes. And then you know how it turns blue and gets weird. I'm just like, hit me up. I can fix that for you.
So. I might need some for my neighbors because apparently in South Florida, it's popular to put silk flowers in your yard. I don't understand that.
I don't either.
It makes me very sad, but maybe I should just give this to them and be like, spruce it up a little bit if you're going to let it.
If you're going to put things out there, just make sure people don't know it. Okay. If you gotta do that. The other thing I want to say about spraying fresh flowers is they're much better if it's room temperature, because when you take stuff out of the cooler, there's condensation and moisture.
Right.
Let your flowers be room temperature and then spray them. Because again, it's sticking to the surface. Well, if there's moisture on that surface, the color isn't really sticking to the flower, it's sticking to the moisture. So let it get room temperature and then you can spray it, pop it back in the cooler. You're good.
That's a really good tip and probably something that people don't always think about, especially all our new sprayers that are going to start after this episode.
Well, the temperature is an important thing because, it says room temperature on here, but some people are like, it's cold and I'm supposed to go outside. Yes, that's fine if it's 30 degrees outside. Get out there, make sure that the surface you're spraying and your can are room temperature. Get out there, do your business, and get back in there before it gets bit or gets wilted or gets attacked by the harsh, I call it hostile spraying conditions. What I tell Gretchen when she's wanting me to spray stuff, I'm like, Gretchen, it's hostile spraying conditions out there. So I actually have a spray booth for that. But make sure your surface and your can are room temperature. And that's going to make a huge difference in how the color performs. So just keep that in mind. And if you do have to step outside into 100-degree heat to paint or into 38-degree cold to paint, you can just spray and make sure your can and your whatever you're spraying stays room temperature.
Very good. Very good. Yeah. So all of our South Florida peeps, now you know. Because it's like hitting 100 degrees in the afternoons here and there. On the weekends especially, it seems like. I know, super hot. All right, so people, I know you showed really great examples of, different flowers that are different colors. So just to clarify, you don't need to spray on white flowers, correct?
You don't. Whatever. Now, you can. Now, if you can picture the color wheel in your head, which I can, it's always in my head, but I'm a color geek. So I live with the color wheel like in my head. So if you think of the colors that are analogous, basically that just means they're neighbors. They're good neighbors. Shifting from one to the other, staying really close in that neighborhood and not going all the way across the color wheel is easier to achieve. So you can spray white flowers, absolutely. But if you want to go with a pastel color, yes. But if you're wanting to go burgundy, you have a white flower and you want to take it burgundy, it's not going to look realistic. It's just not. And if you're okay with that, that's fine. Right. People have different design styles, and some people like that abrupt commercial look. And then other people prefer something more natural. So if there's something you're trying to achieve, if you're wanting to achieve burgundy, start with lavender. It's easy to pull that up. But if you want to start with white and go burgundy, you've got a long path there. And you can get there, but but it's not ideal. So get as close as you can.
Very good. Very good. And then are there flowers that you recommend spraying and maybe some flowers that you don't recommend spraying, or is it good for everything?
Flowers that are hairy. For instance, like lamb's ear.
Right.
Things that have that kind of a texture. aren't ideal because, again, it's going to stick to that hair and not to the underlying surface. So it looks a little strange. Things that are really feathery can be tricky, but there's nothing that I wouldn't consider spraying. There's nothing that I'm like, don't spray this thing.
Right.
There's some surfaces that are more conducive to sprayed color than others. And you can totally spray roses. You can spray whatever you need to. I forgot to show you guys this in the roses. So these are 3 different colors. Let me get in the middle. These are 3 different colors. And so this was the original right here. This was just a baby pink that is not sprayed. And then I took it to a little more color intensity, that color pink. And then here is the coral. And this is all from the same bunch of spray roses, all very realistic and just done with light coats. So you can spray anything.
I love it.
Spray it.
So good. So good. What about spraying containers and rental props? I know you mentioned earlier that you can spray other surfaces, and I think that might be a great way to kind of repurpose things. Yeah.
Absolutely. And it helps with, right now in tricky economic times, spray what you have. Spray what you have. And even when it's not tricky economic times, spray what you have because it's cheaper than buying new. It also reduces your carbon footprint because it's not being remanufactured. You don't deal with freight. You don't deal with any of that. This is something that is already in existence on the earth. It's not taking up any more resources to make this thing. So spray it. Bam, done and done. I had a rental prop business that I sold right before COVID hit. And people would be like, oh, I love that, but do you have it in ivory? And I'd be like, yes. Oh, I love that, but do you have it in gold? Yes. I love that, but do you have it in copper? Absolutely. And so you have to say no to people. You can totally get them what they need and then just respray it. And I know a lot of really big prop companies that I have freelanced for, and you like pull over a bench and you get it out and you can see it's like been 9 different colors. You can see the overspray underneath it.
Right.
Like, that's awesome. Spray those containers. It's a great way to get your customers what they need and keep your cost efficient and then keep you on the cutting edge. Some things get dated. And so Design Master is a great refresh for those containers that are look like, the 90s, the 80s. Spray them, revitalize those, and make money.
Yes. That's what we all need to do right now, right?
Absolutely.
Make money.
Be resourceful.
I have a question from Samantha saying, blue and burgundy are hard colors for me to get naturally. Any tips on these colors and creating them?
Absolutely. I would say buy into the blues, like the Just for Flowers. Buy into those blues. There's black cherry that's going to work really good. There's also peacock. I'm going to have to put my glasses back on again. I'm trying to look. Peacock is going to be good for that. The blue violets, the black cherry, the purple pansy are all going to help you. So I would pick those up. And then that's in the Just for Flowers line. And the Ubermatte, you could pick up some radish, and that would really, really help. And then otherwise, get like fuchsia bright, cranberry, maroon, burgundy. Blue marlin is really good, and our navy blue. Specifically, those are some violets really good too. And that's going to help you get those colors. And again, start with light coats. If you're scared, just give it a little light coat. And then you're like, oh, well, that's not enough. Well, then you can build up to what you want. So it's easier to do that than just to go in and really saturate something and really soak it and really just keep spraying and spraying. It's many, many light coats.
Very good. Let me see. I'm just going through all these amazing comments.
And if we don't get to everybody's comment, or if you want more information, Design Master is really active on our Facebook page, on our Instagram. So you can always reach out to us, send us a direct message. send an email to info@dmcolor.com. We're glad to answer questions. There's lots of resources on our website. There's stuff on our YouTube channel as well.
Yeah. All right, so here is one from Penny. Let's see if I can get it to show. There it goes. Why is there such a stigma in tinting florals? I happen to be very good at it. What do you think, Jodi?
I think the market will tell you what consumers want. And I think we need to check our biases at the door for or against spraying. And I always think of Marshall Field, who was the father of modern retail. And he said, give the lady what she wants. And I love him for that. But I also think as someone who is in marketing and someone who loves Design Master and someone who had a flower shop, give the people what they want. So I think I think spraying has been done incorrectly in the past. I don't want to say incorrectly. It's not been done as well as it could have. And it's like art. There's biases for and against different styles and different sorts of things. So There's a long list of reasons of why people don't like to spray. But I like to spray. And like I mentioned earlier, I used to teach salespeople at the wholesale level how to spray and how to get these things. And the salespeople could not tell what was sprayed and what was not.
Right.
So I'm just like, ha, ha, ha. That was, that was such a fun thing for me. So I think there's biases for and against for a lot of different reasons, but I just think the market tells you what it wants. Give people what they want and get over it.
Yeah, there's a lot of people, like anytime we post anything that's like been tinted or colored or whatever, especially if it's not natural looking, like these guys, for example, so not natural looking.
But there's a place for it.
There really is. There's a market for it, and there's some like end consumers that freaking love that kind of stuff. And then there's now designers that like take super unnatural looking things, and that's their design aesthetic, and that's their market that they go after. So it's like a whole industry in itself with like color, and people are either drawn to it or they just want like the natural stuff. But I love that Design Master can kind of be both. They can be like the in your face kind of colors, and they can be like, again, just helping you achieve that natural color that you're for some reason having a hard time with, maybe sourcing. So again, it's really just really good stuff to know.
It is. It's how you use it. I always say, my friend Chris Kratt used to say, people say, oh, I don't like this flower, or I don't like that flower. And I heard Chris say, there's no bad flowers, just bad designers.
Right.
And I feel the same way about color. There are no bad colors. There's just bad uses of it. And so if that's your niche, is really disruptive, funky color, which is very on trend now. Sorry if you don't like it, but it's super
on trend.
Is. To be disruptive with color. And I love that too. But I like the artistry that it takes to be able to fool a salesperson who touches fresh flowers every day and then not know that this product was sprayed. That's I don't know why that thrills me so much, but it really does.
It is. It's fun. It's fun to trick people.
It is. It is.
All right. Our next question is from Samantha. She says, what's your go-to starting color of flowers? Those pink spray roses tinted nicely.
That's a great question, Samantha. And the reason they tinted nicely is because I didn't try to take it to red or to one of these colors that isn't analogous or isn't close to it. It was a pastel application. And so it was really forgiving and really, you can't tell what was sprayed and what was not. And this is 3 stems of spray roses. And even if you were looking up close, you really can't tell what was sprayed. I sprayed the back side of the petals. So if you stay in the pastels, that's when they're going to tint nicely. But if you try to like drag it all the way across the color wheel, it's going to be a little clunky and a little abrupt, which if you like that look and your market is good with really commercial disruptive use of color, and that's what you're trying to achieve is something super high-end artistic, then that's awesome too. It just depends on what your intent is. So whatever flower you start with, make sure that you're not taking it all the way across the color wheel, that you're just going very nearby. And if you need something that's burgundy, start with purple, because it's easy to take that purple to a burgundy, but it's going to be really harder to take a white or a pale pink all the way to burgundy. So that's why they tinted nicely, because I started and just shifted that color just very delicately. So that's why it tinted nicely, because I was smart about not trying to achieve something that was way on the other side.
Very good. Very good. All right. So I have another great question from Heather. She said, if you're spraying on glass, should you seal the paint with Dresden clear glaze, or do you not need to? I've had some problems with chipping or scratched painted vases.
Great question. No, you do not need to prime it with Dresden clear glaze. And shout out for Dresden clear glaze. It's a great product. But you can spray directly on the glass, but you have to make sure that your glassware is clean. And so when glassware is manufactured, there is an agent that helps it release from the molds. And so that is on there as a film sometimes, and sometimes you can't even see it. So always clean that really, really good. You can use our Mess Master product, because it'll take off any of the oils. You can use, just use something that's not going to have a residue. You can use alcohol, just anything that's going to clean that. You can use soap and water. Just get it clean so there is no residue. Again, so that the color is adhering to the surface and not to whatever residue or film could be on the surface. And then the other thing is, sometimes glassware, if it gets into refrigeration and moisture, it can chip, it can scratch. So what we recommend doing is transferring out of whatever it's in from the cooler, transfer it to your sprayed container, your sprayed glassware, so that it's easy. It's going to be easier for your delivery driver to handle, because it's not all slippy and slidey on the outside of the glass, but the color is going to wear really well too. And if it chips and scratches on painted vases, you can always take that off with Mess Master and put it back on. That's what I did with my rental props all the time. They'd come back a little beat up, and I was just like, shh, more gold.
Perfect. Yep. So good. Okay. So first of all, TC Brown says, I spray everything. Thanks, TC Brown.
High five, TC Brown.
And then real quick, I wanted to answer Sophia's question. She said, can you watch this later? And yes, you can. So our recording here on Facebook Live is available pretty much almost immediately on Facebook. And once they're done processing on their end, it's very quick. Then I upload this to YouTube. I will upload it to IGTV, and it will be posted on our blog. So it's super easy to find, along with our show notes and the podcast. So you can listen to it while you're designing or driving or, playing with the kids outside or exercising. So yeah, we're available pretty much in every medium that you can imagine.
You guys and your doing this is so valuable for people. And I love that it's on so many different platforms, and I know it takes a lot of work. So Mayesh, you guys are doing a great job trying to get out good information and inspiration to everybody. Long before COVID, but especially now, it's so, so, so important. We really need this.
Yeah, thank you. I know before COVID, I was doing it about once a month, and now we're doing it almost every week. And at one point, we were doing multiples per week, which was just making my head spin a little bit. But this is doable right now, what we're doing here. So,
well, you're doing great. You're doing great.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so we talked about all the spraying. Are there any precautions that we need to be aware of, and also, like, how do you store the paints? What are your tips for that?
Don't store them room temperature. You don't want too high. You definitely don't want them too low. Just room temperature, away from flame, common sense kind of stuff.
Right.
Just keep them stored away from any flame, or, like a hot water heater and things like that you don't think about, that might have a pilot light or whatever. Just keep it away from that. And, just a dry place. I wouldn't put them in the sun, but the cans are shelf stable for years and years and years. We get questions. People will find like our original label from when we came out in the 60s. And they'll be like, is this still good? And I'm like, absolutely. If you can get it to come out, then yep, it's still good.
That's amazing.
So it's common sense type of things. The cans are steel, and at least 25% of the can itself is made from recycled steel, and the cans are fully recyclable. We're super environmentally conscious about how we manufacture it, how we store it, and then also how we recycle our cans, and educating people about that. But if you follow label directions, you're good. It's completely safe. We follow all the rules. Canada has a set of rules. California has a set of rules, and every color, every can that we have adheres to those rules. We have private independent labs that we use to make sure that everything's completely safe for the user and the consumer.
Very good.
Yeah.
You did mention people finding original cans, and I feel like I just saw a post. Someone found like something from a long time ago, which is, it's really cool. And yeah, and the fonts it was awesome because, you know, it's just fun to look at older branding. It really is, for marketing nerds.
Well, and I mean, when you think about 1961, you know, and Mark Addison is sitting there as an accountant who's an artist going, you know, we need to put color in a can, and we need to be able to spray it on flowers. Yeah, and we still need that now more than ever. Just to be able to have color control is super important. It was important when he dreamed it up in 1961, and it's still really important today.
Yeah, I love it. You brought up the old cans, and so Rose Study's asking, how long do they last?
Long time. Long time. What happens, I mean, some of it could disintegrate over time, but I've had a couple people, even just recently, going through their archives, or people that bought an old flower shop that are finding these old cans, and they're like, is this okay to spray? And I'm like, shake it really, 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 really good, and then shake it more. Because if it's
can have
sitting
some
there for
biceps.
Yeah. So just shake those cans really good. But yeah, they last kind of indefinitely. We've got cans that were manufactured in the early 60s that are still, you can still spray them. So, but you know, don't let them sit there that long. Use the cans and go get new ones.
Very good.
Use that stuff up. Use that stuff up. Set that color free, get it out of the can.
So speaking of buying cans, and for people that don't have Design Master already, where can our viewers purchase your products? Where can they find them?
Traditionally through wholesale florists. So I know that Mayesh, you guys have it at your Detroit store.
Detroit,
and then
probably.
Charlotte.
Mm-hmm.
So those two locations do have Design Master. So you can check the Detroit Mayesh and the Charlotte one. There's a place that I'll give to Yvonne that she can add to the show notes and the links that you can get online. But traditional wholesale florist, that's always been our distribution chain. So visit your traditional wholesale florist. If they're not open, hopefully they can do curbside pickup for you. If not, you can order online. If you go to our website, dmcolor.com, there is a tab there that says where to buy, and it's going to tell you every place that you can get it. Michael's does have some of it, but they just have like a tiny, tiny bit of what we have. And so a lot of the things that I showed today, you're probably not going to be able to get there. So your wholesale florist is definitely your best bet. And because it is an aerosol, it has to ship ground. So it's going to take a little bit longer because it can't go air. But you can still get it.
Very good. Where should everyone connect with you and Design Master at?
Me, I'm just Jodi Duncan. So I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook. I have a couple of Facebook pages. Jodi Duncan Designs is my interiors and weddings. That's pretty much all I do there. Then I have Social Jodi, which is the marketing side. Design Master is just going to be Design Master Color Tool or DM Color. So we're on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and YouTube. I'm on all the platforms as Jodi Duncan. Design Master is on all the platforms as Design Master. So we're available for questions. If you hit up Design Master, With a direct message, you're probably going to get me or Gretchen. And we're glad to answer any questions that you have and help you guys get the colors that you need.
Perfect. I love it, guys. So I put most of those links in the comments. I'll also add them to the show notes for you guys for future reference if you ever need them. And Jodi, thank you so much for joining me today. I love it. It was so informative.
It's always good to be with you. It was fun to be the design star for Mayesh in 2013, and I think that's when I met you. And
Yes.
so I was one of the OG design stars back in the day. So,
yes.
So we've had a long relationship together, and I really appreciate my friendship with Mayesh through the years.
Same, Jodi. It's been lovely. I love it. It was so much fun. 2013. Every year is so much fun, just working with different people and different personalities and different designs, and even different videographers and photographers, because it's a whole team that makes this all happen. It's always a fun time and lots of good memories from that. So thank you for everything.
I went back and watched some old videos. It was so much fun because I remember shooting them here, there, and yonder, and that was kind of what we did back in the day. So
yeah,
those are all on YouTube too. You could probably burn a day of your life just watching old 2013 Design Star.
Yes, they're all on YouTube, and you can find them. I know I need to start posting like some oldies but goodies like on IGTV, and because we didn't really have IGTV when we first started all of this, so that would be fun. I've been thinking about that. Like we should kind of recycle some of that stuff and get it back up.
Content. There's still some good content in there.
It really is. It really is. So anyhow, thank you, Jodi.
My pleasure.
And guys,
thanks.
Yeah, love it. That's a wrap, guys, on today's Mornings with Mayesh. To all of our viewers, old and new, thank you so much for joining us and for your time and support. We really, really appreciate it. Stay tuned for our next show. So next week, I'm going to have Charity Reel back on with another just overview of our Mayesh.com things that are going on. And then I'm also going to have our Mayesh team member, Val McNichols, on for a fun episode to talk about all the new fun stuff and our new video series, The Beautiful People of the Flower Industry. So it's going to be fun. In the meantime, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to reach out, shoot me an email, DM me, or use our contact form on our website. And that's it, guys. Stay safe and stay healthy. Have a lovely day. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.